just noticed that there's a flower stalk on it. And it is going to have a yellow flower. And I'm going to be talking about a plant with purpose, which is probably the most widely sold succulent in the world, I would imagine. And that is Aloe barbadensis or aloe vera. I'm going to tell you how to take care of it indoors and outdoors. Now this is also known as medicinal aloe. It has a lot of great ways that you can use it. I will do a video about that sometime, but I'm just going to talk about the care right now. And this is mine that was in the front yard. It was getting too much sun. It was drying out. And so I did a video and a post last year about how I transplanted it. And it's doing so much better now. The leaves are like nice and plump and beautiful. And this pot actually lives right back by the table. And I went to move it and it was so heavy because these leaves are just all full of that beautiful gel. Which leads me right into exposure. Outside, it doesn't like full sun, obviously hot sun. Here, this spot I have it in is, it's shaded now, but in an hour or two, it'll be nice and bright back here, so it gets beautiful light. In the summer, it probably gets like an hour or two of sunlight, but it's just nice and bright, and it really has greened up beautifully. Now, indoors, you want the light to be as bright as possible, which is a kind of a vague term without getting into foot candles, but you want something like a west or a south exposure where it's beautiful and bright. If you've got big windows, that's even better. But you don't want it in the window up against the glass because it'll burn. These fleshy, tender leaves will burn. Now, if I was going to have this plant growing indoors, I would have it in my kitchen because it's a west exposure. I've got a fairly large window in there, and I would keep it on the counter just down from the window where it got nice bright light. It's also nice to have it in the kitchen in case you burn yourself or you need to get some on your face really fast. It's right there and handy for you. Now, in terms of water, you want to be stingy on the water. You want it to almost completely dry out before you water it again. Mine is in a terracotta pot. It's outside, so it dries out fairly fast. I wouldn't say really fast. I water this outside about every 2 weeks. In the summer, when it's hotter, if we have a hot spell, I might do it every week just because it's in a clay pot and they dry out faster. Whereas inside, you would probably want to water it about once a month depending on the pot size, and you want to water it thoroughly through and have the water drained out so it's not sitting in any water, because these are susceptible to root rot. If you look at that post I was talking about, you can see the roots. They're really fleshy, so the roots hold a lot of water in their fat, so you don't want to give it too much. In the winter, you might want to do every 2 months because you don't want it to mush out and rot out. You also have to remember these leaves are all full of a liquid too. So easy on the water. The soil and water go hand in hand, of course, so you want to use something like a succulent and cactus mix because that's going to help it to really drain out, and you also want the roots to get some air too, because roots need air too. So if it's constantly waterlogged, it's not going to be getting any of that air it needs. There's more about the soil in the transplanting video I did and post. And this is a baby, a pup that I took off of this plant. And it's starting to grow. It's actually, this one is in pretty much all shade. With asparagus fern growing around it. And it's still nice and green. It's got the little aeonium in there and a sedum. I don't know how they got in there. That's what happens. So this one's doing fine. I'll probably pull it out soon so it can get some more of the light and actually start to grow. But this is the baby off of the mother plant. Now, in terms of fertilizer, it doesn't need too much of anything. I just top dress all of my container plants with worm castings every spring, and that's all they get. You could use a balanced liquid fertilizer in the spring. Once would be fine for it, and that would make it happy. Just do not over fertilize it. Now, in terms of pests, mine outdoors has only gotten a little bit of the golden aphids, the orange aphids, so I just hosed them off. But indoors, they are more susceptible to mealybug, and that's that white cottony substance insect. It especially hangs out in the nodes of the leaves here, and you could just take a Q-tip or a cotton ball that had alcohol and just dab it, and that's the way to control it. Oh, I have heard that it gets scale too, but I've never seen it on an aloe vera. It looks like a pinhead, and it's usually black or dark brown. And if you see that, then you can just scrape that off with either your fingernail, if that doesn't bother you, or a knife if it's not a bad infestation. Because scale it'll suck the juices out. I'm letting my aloe grow a little bit more before I actually start to cut it. That kind of leads me into pruning. I've never really had to prune an aloe except to cut the leaves off to use, but while it's growing, because a few of these older leaves are still a little bit, oh well, they're actually getting nice and plump too. They aren't as plump as these here. I've been buying aloe. This has been cut by about a half. I've been buying aloe at my Mexican market. There's a Mexican market just like a few blocks away. So whole big aloe leaf for $1.89, and it's just full of the gel. Aloe is really easy to care for. The reason that most people's aloes die is that they overwater them. So be sure to let it dry out before you water it again. As a house plant, you want the light to be nice and bright. You might have to move it in the wintertime as the light changes, so it can get more light. But otherwise, there's not that much that you have to do to it except to cut it and enjoy it. And you can cut the leaf here, and you can just cut a piece off if you want. It's not going to look all that fabulous. I tend to take off the whole leaf just because I think it looks better than I keep the leaves in the refrigerator. But it's not going to hurt the plant if you just cut, and use it that way. So I hope you found this video helpful, and be sure to check the post that goes along with this. It'll be in the description area down below, or probably someplace up here too, and the link to that. And please subscribe, because I have a lot of gardening, both outdoor and indoor videos coming your way. Thanks for all your comments and your likes. I really appreciate all of those. And as always, I thank you so much for watching, and let's get out in the garden and make the world a more beautiful place. Bye!